Oh, well, hey, B, it's Jamie. That's me here. Welcome back to my channel. Let's go ahead and talk about some housewives, okay? We still have Real Housewives of Potomac after show, as well as two different interviews from Ascala, as well as a former Real Housewife of Potomac, Miss Charisse. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So let's get into the latest video that Bravo has dropped from the after show, okay? And they start off with talking about Robyn's loyalty to Gizelle, okay? Wendy says that Robyn has this blind loyalty to Gizelle and it embarrasses her. Wendy said this embarrasses her, meaning Wendy. Wendy is embarrassed by the loyalty, the blind loyalty that Robyn has to Gizelle. She says because Robyn is so willfully blinded and attached to someone else, and she feels like it's disappointing, okay? Now, Karen says that Robyn has already said that she will ride for Gizelle, whether right or wrong. So she's kind of grouped in with Gizelle. Right? So when people be dragging Gizelle, they turn around and drag Miss Robyn too. But also that's because Robyn often inserts herself in matters dealing with Gizelle. Okay. So Mia says that she knows all about that best friend life because that's how her best friend is. Okay. Mia says she got a Robyn and her friend is gonna ride for her until the very end, right or wrong. And I feel like you can ride for your friend, you know what I'm saying, right or wrong. But I also feel like it's okay to, you know, check your friend when they are, you know, out of line. You know what I'm saying? Wendy says that she has her sister, for example, that she feels like she's her best friends with. She's very loyal to her sister, but then she goes on to say behind closed doors, she gonna check her sister though, when her sister's in the wrong. And I just feel like in Robyn's defense, we don't fully know if Robyn is checking her behind closed doors. She probably is. We did get a chance to see a glimpse this past season where Robyn ended up, you know, Gizelle didn't want the ladies inside of her house, particularly Miss Wendy and Miss Karen. She didn't want them in her house. And Robyn told her right out the gate, like, girl, that's not making sense. I disagree, girl. I don't like it. Right. So Robyn was able to hold Gizelle to the fire in that moment. So she may do it often behind the scenes, which is the things that we don't see, which is actually what Gizelle would prefer. And Gizelle has said that before. I think it could have been on season 4, maybe on season 5, one of the 2 seasons where she told Robyn she wants her to present a united front and to always have her back in front of other people. Okay. So that's how Miss Gizelle is feeling, and that's how Robyn is cooperating. Right now, Gizelle says that it's not called a blind loyalty. She feels like it's called loyalty, and that's exactly what a friendship is, according to Miss Gizelle. Okay, she said that she already told the lady she gonna always have Robyn's back, whether Robyn is all the way wrong or she's not. She's gonna ride for her, so that shouldn't be any surprise to any of the ladies, according to Gizelle. Now, Wendy goes on and she says she applies for friendship. She thinks the friendship is cool, like, great, that's awesome, that's going to be a friend, wonderful. Have the best friend thing going on, that's great. She said, but at the end of the day, a true friendship is about being honest. And one should be able to be honest with their friend when they're right or when they're wrong. Okay. Now, Robyn says that she and Gizelle are best friends and they've been best friends for years. I guess it don't really matter when you've acquired the friendship of somebody, because I'm like, girl, you had like y'all been friends all your life, girl, and y'all haven't. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, y'all been friends with this lady about 6 years. I'd say probably 5, as long as you've known this lady on this show. But that's your best friend. You sticking beside her, so it ain't too much anybody else can really say, but just call you out every time that they feel like calling you out about your SHI. Okay, now what else did I want to say? I was saying that I can understand why she's saying, I can understand what Robyn is saying, like they've been friends for years. You know, if you don't know what a real friendship is like, then, you know, that's on you. You need to go and get real friends. But sometimes I feel like if you see that your friend is just flat out wrong, there's nothing wrong with, you know, speaking up and saying something about it, or just not speaking up at all. Like, you got it, friend. I'm not going to say anything or add anything to the madness, but I'm definitely going to get with you in private and we're going to talk about it. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like you can like support your friend and disagree with things, but you don't have to always be vocal and like, you know, try to step in or try to defend them every single time. But y'all let me know. You know what I'm saying? Gizelle refers to herself in third person. They talked about this. And they asked everybody, like, why y'all feel like Gizelle talk in third person? Girl, Karen said because the first person don't want to talk to her. I hollered. Okay, she said her third person don't want to talk to the first person. That's why she always talking in third person. I said, okay, Karen, I'm gonna give you that one, girl. I'm gonna give you that one. That was funny. That was good. Candiace says that Gizelle is dumb. Period. She says Gizelle likes to look for a way to be a clown and to be a comedian. And that's why she thinks Gizelle refers to herself in third person. Right. So I was like, oh, Candiace, girl, not you calling Gizelle dumb. Can we get a little bit of this next season to her face? Maybe a little bit. Okay, make sure you let her know that you don't agree with her. I did like how you kind of checked Robyn this season and how you told Robyn that she is mad by association or something like that, or upset by association, or she was feeling a way about Wendy by association based on how Wendy and Gizelle got into it. I did like how you called Robyn out on that. So just, yeah, let's keep that going and call Gizelle out. You know what I'm saying? A bit more. Gizelle is asked about being Wendy's big sister because Ascala and Candiace has gone to her and told her, like, Miss Girl sees you like a big sister. Now, Gizelle says that, number one, I never knew that she saw me as no big sister. I don't believe that. I believe you knew. And the more you talked made me feel like you definitely knew. Okay. So she says that she also didn't believe that. She said, I didn't know that. And I don't believe that because if that was the case, then she would have handled me a different way when it came down to actually delivering the news to her. And I'm just like, Gizelle, that's not fair because you're still forgetting about how the news was presented to her. Like you literally started the conversation off by going to everybody before you went to her. So I feel like that's the issue. Like that's what you should have did first. Like if you really care so much and you want her to present herself to you in a certain fashion, you should have went to her first and had the conversation. Wendy says that she thought that they had a better relationship just, in general, right? So of course the ladies are a part of the same sorority and stuff. I felt like Gizelle did come off as though she was being a big sis to Wendy, especially last season. When Wendy got into it with Ashley, Gizelle put her to the side. They had a conversation. So I think she did lead with a big sister type of energy, right? So then Robyn says that she thinks that it's actually a fair assessment for Wendy to think that Gizelle was her big sister, okay? She says she thinks that Wendy definitely could have looked at Gizelle like that. And it was interesting for Robyn to say that to me just a little bit because I felt like, okay, you're not in this interview session with Gizelle. You're in this interview session with Ashley. I feel like if you was in this session with Gizelle, you would have just went along with whatever Gizelle said. But okay. So we can dig it. So I think with that being said, Gizelle was highly aware of the position and the role that she played in that lady's life, even if it was for a teeny weeny little bit of time. Like you, her sorority sister, she's now on this show that you've been on for quite a few, for quite some time. So I feel like the same kind of role Karen called herself taking on with Mia, you kind of started to do with Miss Wendy. Gizelle goes on to say that she was acting big sisterly. And that was interesting because she said I was acting big sisterly and then she ended up throwing shade. She says, well, I was acting big sisterly by saying that I hope she's okay because of the social media nonsense, because I know she doesn't have thick skin like myself and Ashley. So she really can't take what people are saying about her on social media. In addition to that, I also know that Wendy is an insecure woman. These are the words coming out of Gizelle's mouth. Okay. So she says that was her acting big sisterly by wondering whether or not she was okay, girl. And then she goes on to say that she felt like she was acting big sisterly, but Wendy was acting like an enemy. I said, okay, then. Looking forward to part 2 of the reunion, honey. Robyn, she finally moved into the new home, y'all. So that's when you were watching the after show, and you could tell from the background that it's not her old house. She's now in her new home, okay? Mia, which is interesting. Mia has moved near Karen. That's what we learned, and I did read that on Bravo's site where they said that Karen got a new neighbor, which happens to be Miss Mia. Miss Mia moved not too far from Miss Karen, so they're all like in the same area, which is interesting to me because Mia, if you live near Karen, that means you also live near Monique. So, because Monique didn't live too far from Karen. So I think Karen is within jogging distance of both of you guys. So I'm wondering now, has Mia had sit downs and stuff with Miss Monique, honey? Have you had sit downs with Miss Monique and stuff? How has that been? Let the girls know, because, you know, we wouldn't mind knowing, because it was like some BS that was going on social media when Mia tried to lie and say that it was her, when she tried to lie and say that it was her, social media person, when she is indeed the social media person, and some comments and things that she was saying was somehow linked back to Monique, and then she was atting Monique on stuff or whatever like that, girl. So it's like, Monique can't save you. Monique not on this show. You on this show by yourself with Miss Karen, okay? So you worry about that. All right, so that's that, y'all. I want to go ahead and switch gears and talk about somebody else from Real Housewives of Potomac. Miss Charisse. Now, if you've been watching Real Housewives of Potomac from the beginning, then you'll know who this woman is. And if you don't, then maybe you should go back to the beginning, okay? Maybe you're one of those people that have a lot of opinions, but you wasn't there from the beginning. So maybe you should go back to the beginning. But anyway, Charisse was a part of the show earlier on, and I believe she was on the show up until what, like season 4 or something like that. But sometimes I liked Charisse, sometimes I didn't. I think I liked Charisse more when she was going at it with Miss Karen. And it's funny because when I listened to the interview that Charisse gave, she did an interview, first of all, let me say that. She did an interview with Bravo. I know a lot of people say, why is she up here talking? Why she got so much to say? Girl, you ain't been on the show. You got, you know, they ain't asked you to come back, this, that, and the other, whoop-de-whoop, right? It was a whole lot. Well, number one, the reason she did the interview was because the show was called Life After Bravo. So they wanted to check in with her and ask her how she's doing. So she has every right to go and give her thoughts on what she's been up to lately. Number two, I don't know if it's that she didn't want, I don't know if it's that they didn't ask her to come back. I feel like it was that she didn't want to come back because she was getting ready to get that divorce from her husband. And, you know, they was likely going to be diving into that more, and she ain't want to talk about it. So I think that's why Miss Charisse has left. And if anything, y'all should be patting her on the back, because had it not been for Charisse, there likely would not be some of the great characters that we do have of Potomac, because she was the first person to be approached to get this show up off the ground. Okay, so there's that. Right now, I may have liked Charisse at times and not like Charisse at times, but y'all gonna have to give credit where credit is due. Actually, I think Charisse was the one that brought Monique onto the show. Okay, so there's that. So she went on, she talked about a few things, quite a few things she said in this interview, you know, I could appreciate, because I was kind of feeling the same way. And for her to kind of know these people exactly, like to actually know them, whereas I just see them from a screen, it makes me feel like, okay, my judgment don't be all the way wrong when I be thinking about this, right? So I just jotted down a few things, and then I also have an audio clip about what she had to say about Ms. Mo, because girl, I'm not gonna repeat, I'm gonna let her tell y'all exactly what she had to say. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of the things she said in the interview. First off, Charisse calls out the fact that Karen has changed the most physically. Yes, she has. If you've been watching from the beginning, you have seen how Karen's face has reversed. Okay, looks like she's looking a bit more younger. Okay, it's working for her because Karen has been looking good. All right, I definitely agree with Charisse, like I said on that. She also kind of talked about how Karen does the most. Karen definitely does the most. She tries to act like she's the best. That's something Charisse mentioned. She said she has this idea in her head that she's just the grande of everything. And I said she does. She does have that idea about herself. Like she's just, and I feel like that's okay to want to think highly of yourself. But it's something about Karen that it just irks me at times. Like she acts like she is the grand at everything. And she always wants to be the reason for something. Like, oh, it's because of me. Oh, it's because of me. Oh, I got Candiace and Monique together for them to mend fences because of me. Y'all remember how she tried to link them up last season, even though Miss Candiace didn't want to be near her or whatever. She tried to have them end up catching up with each other at the same time, because I think Karen wanted to be the person to bridge them back together. Just like when, I can't remember who ended up making up, was it Ashley and Candiace, or somebody ended up making up, and Karen said that it was or was it Michael or something, Michael and somebody, but she ended up saying that it was because of her wedding at the love thing. Oh yeah, well, it was surrounded by love at my events. And like, I'm glad that Charisse confirmed that that's exactly what I be thinking about Karen. Karen likes to always be the reason. She likes to always do the most, act like she's the grand at everything. And whatever her tactics are, obviously it works because a lot of fans, you know, they love her. Okay, some people feel like Miss Karen is the fan favorite of Potomac, but you know, there's that. Charisse also opens up to let us know that she and Nene are actually really good friends, and they ended up, you know, like they just ended up just like it just happened as far as the connection between the both of them. They just developed like a genuine friendship. Like they are really, really close friends. She said that's something that a lot of people do not know about her. And I was like, okay, that's what's up. She's really cool with her. So what I would not mind seeing is if as Bravo does this Real Housewives Ultimate Girls trip, as they do this, I wouldn't mind seeing Charisse and Nene on this trip since they're really good friends. Like, I really feel like, in all honesty, y'all, Real Housewives Ultimate Girls trip, that trip and that event, that 1 week thing, honestly should be for the housewives that are no longer a part of any of the franchises. That's who they should have brought back and mix and mingle. I don't feel like they should have brought back any of the ladies that we're actively seeing on the franchises right now. You see what I'm saying? So that would have been, at one point, it would have been Sheree. It probably would have been Kim Zolciak or whatever her name is. It would have been Nene and whoever else was a part of the show. Even if it was for a season, like Shamari, okay, maybe even Claudia, like for those individuals that's not a part of the franchise to come together and do something. So those are my thoughts. So there's that, okay? Charisse opened up about her marriage, right? Y'all know she was going through some issues with marriage. And she was talking about how originally her and her husband, I feel like they already had issues in their marriage, and she was just hanging in just to hang in because she wanted her family to be together. Because when she was approached to be on this show, she didn't really want to do it. Right. But she was the last, after she helped them find everybody else to be a part of the show, they told her, we need you to be the last person. Like, you just gonna have to do it. And she was like, okay, I guess. She asked her husband about it. He said, well, if you do the show, then we're likely going to get a divorce. She was like, okay, well, I guess we're going to get a divorce then. Okay. I don't think it went like that, because she was definitely depressed, sad, and hurt for quite a few seasons over, you know, her husband and the direction that her marriage was taking. Right. And it was interesting because as I have here, she says that Charisse opens up about her marriage and how the show solidified the end of their marriage because he didn't want her to be apart. She says that she hasn't talked to her husband since season 1. So since she was on season 1, it wasn't that much interaction between the both of them. But it was interesting because on the show at times, and I'm glad she opened up about that, because she said that, you know, 1 minute she's up, 1 minute she's down. She was like kind of like all over the place, because that's how it was on the show. She would portray and act like everything between her and her husband was all good. Everything was fine and dandy. And then 1 minute we finding out the truth that it's like, girl, no, it's not. Okay. He wants a divorce. He don't want to be on TV. He don't want to be filmed, girl. None of that. But even though Charisse tried to put up that exterior that Gizelle often puts up, like she's unbothered, she ended up, you know, getting to her moments where she had to just break down, and she was emotional and she cried about it. So, you know, it was what it was. But she's doing much better now. She says that she is dating, so we hope the best for her on that. Now, Charisse mentions that she is not speaking to Karen anymore. That's somebody that she's not in contact with, Miss Karen. She don't talk to her, okay? She's still friends with like Robyn, what we learned, and you'll hear from the video. She's been friends with Robyn for years, okay? She already knew Gizelle for years. Gizelle was the first person she called for Real Housewives of Potomac, and she really wanted the both of them to end up being good friends. She said they ended up being such good friends that she got jealous just a little bit, right? So there's that. What else? Let's see what else. Oh, yeah. She also touched on the show and Monique, and we're going to get into that. Yeah, she called out Karen again. Like I said, she called out Karen for being for not being a very authentic person. So she doesn't feel like Karen is authentic. And we see that on the show, right? A lot of people like Karen because they don't like somebody else, right? So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I be seeing through Karen lies and stuff. So I'm glad that she gave me confirmation on that. And I'm glad that she also acknowledged some things about Monique that I felt like I've always felt this way about Monique from the beginning. So I'm glad that she kind of talked about that, and we'll get into that. Another thing I want to say is that she's doing comedy now. And it's interesting because I'm like, Charisse, you don't even seem like you have the personality to be out here doing no stand-up comedy. She said she been doing it for a little bit, like right before the pandemic happened. And she said she ended up doing a show recently. She bombed. She had some hecklers that came out to literally heckle her, and she didn't do so great, but she's going to continue to go out there and try. And I'm like, okay, then, girl, you should really just figure out a way to get back on Potomac. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. And the fact that her interview resurfaced at this time made me wonder, Potomac is over. Are y'all interviewing Charisse to have Charisse come back and be a part of the show or something? But I will say this, Charisse is always around, right? She was always around last season, and she's likely around now. The only difference is they don't really show her on camera, but she is real friends with these ladies, and she's always at events, okay, and gatherings, for real, for real. But I'm like, y'all might as well go on give Charisse a friend of the show. Charisse, go on, come on back, do your little friend of the show, girl. And you ain't even got to give us your whole life, because we know ain't too much been going on, but maybe you could just pop in a little bit, give us a little snippets, get in there and collect Miss Karen like you used to, because her and Gizelle, they getting lame, okay? The interaction between Gizelle and Karen is getting a teeny weeny boring. Y'all can bring Charisse back so she can keep her foot on Miss Karen's neck, and we'll be highly entertained with that. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch over and let you guys check out this audio of what Miss Charisse had to say about the show, bringing the ladies together, as well as her thoughts on Miss Monique Cuddy. Y'all get into this.
Do you still watch Real Housewives of Potomac?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I feel like the show has changed a lot since the first season.
A lot. I wish it could have stayed a little more classy. I have to be very honest. It's disappointing to me as a Black woman to watch some of the things that do transpire. Obviously, that crazy thing with Candiace and Monique, that was just gut-wrenching for me.
Not only am I embarrassed, I'm ashamed of myself for my actions, for even letting anybody get under my skin to the point where I would react that way.
I'm very supportive of the show because my friends are on it, and I still consider it my baby because I worked very hard to, get that ball rolling. But I still watch.
Speaking of Monique, you two were very close.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that.
When did your relationship with Monique start to sour?
Let's see. Season 3. Monique is a unique individual. She's a control freak. She likes to manipulate situations. She didn't want me and Robyn and Gizelle to be friends. Constantly reminded me of what Gizelle did season 1.
They're going to do what they've been doing. He's going to be with his girlfriends, and she's going to be with her boyfriend, the fireman.
Which is like, because they didn't care for her. She didn't want me to like them. And I've known these women, like Robyn. I've known Robyn for like 19 years now. This is a real friendship, and she couldn't understand that. So that was part of it, because somehow internalize it as loyalty. Like I'm not being loyal to her because they don't like her. Monique started doing these lives. She's talking about me on lives. She's going to people that I've introduced her to outside of the show, telling them things that totally was not true. I didn't think it was going to get to the level that it has gotten to. I just found her as a dishonest person. She thought I was coming back to expose the stuff with her and the trainer and all that stuff. She wasn't even a thought. How could I come back to talk about something that I don't even know anything about? And I ended up looking like the bad guy because it looks like that I, said things about her and her family when I absolutely haven't said anything about them.
Yeah. Do you ever foresee you two being friends again?
Never.
Well, y'all just heard what Miss Charisse had to say about everything, honey. Okay, she feels like, I guess, from the fight with Candiace and Monique, that the show has taken a turn for the left and downhill. But I feel like it hasn't. I feel like it has not. Okay, I feel like if anything, it boosted the ratings. Okay, so people are definitely, tuned in. And even if that is the case, I feel like they still have time to redeem themselves. Okay, because Real Housewives of Atlanta has had multiple moments where things were like turned in a completely different direction. Okay. So there's that. But I ain't got too much to say, honey, because she said a lot of stuff that I would have said out my mouth, but I don't even know these people, and she knew these people. So y'all let me know y'all thoughts overall about how you feel and what you think about what Miss Charisse had to say about the ladies of Potomac, as well as y'all good girl, Miss Mo and Miss Karen. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and switch gears, and we're gonna talk about something else. I want to get into Miss Ascala, because Miss Ascala had an interview, and I believe it was with Bassett. She did this interview, honey, and they asked her some questions, about her being on the show, and Miss Mia. Okay. She was asked about Miss Mia, and also asked about things of what she would have changed this season. And she felt as though she let a lot of stuff slide when it came to your girl. So I'm going to go ahead and play this audio of the interview piece that Miss Ascala had with Bassett. Y'all check that out, and then we're going to come back with a comment from Miss Mia. So get into this, honey.
And I applaud you for keeping your composure and matching, even when matching like Mia's energy when you guys were at the recently shady party, and even so on Twitter, because I remember there was that whole back and forth, and she did the whole thing about you living with your mom in a townhouse, and you had to shut her down, like she lived with you. Like, do you believe that she has a social media manager, or do you think that's really her?
Mia's social media manager is just like Gizelle stylist. Like, girl, please, like, don't.
Are you saying she doesn't exist?
Yeah, it doesn't. In the phone.
Wow.
In the phone, like Karen says. Like, that was you. Like, take accountability. If you're going to be shady and have this negative energy and try to come at people, like, stand by it. And then, because you'll have to wait and see how it plays out on the reunion. But I definitely do call her out on that. Yeah. Because don't sit there and try to make it seem like it wasn't you, because I read you. For Phil, and you tried it, and I was on vacation minding my business, okay, at the Ritz-Carlton, having a grand old time with my kids, okay, and my husband and my mother-in-law for her birthday, and here come trying to troll me.
Liz, is there anything looking back that you would change about this season? Is there anything that you would do differently?
Yeah, I let a lot of stuff slide with Mia. Okay. There was a lot of stuff. Actually, we got into it twice in Williamsburg. Then they didn't show it. But there was a lot of stuff. And I remember like being in certain places and certain environments, and she would say stuff and I would just ignore it or act like I didn't hear it, because I just didn't want to deal with like the drama or deal with like going back and forth with people. Just because I didn't, like, sometimes just ignore it. Like Michelle Obama says, when they go low, you go high. Yep. But no, I do regret some of the stuff. I should have went lower, because sometimes people don't stop. They don't learn their lesson. Yeah. And that's why I had to kind of get in on her, go in on her over social media, because I was like, enough is enough. Like, even on social media, I let a lot of stuff slide. But eventually, you get tired of that, and you have to stand up for yourself. You definitely have to stand up for yourself.
All right, y'all heard that coming from Miss Ascala, honey. Mia is so interesting, because it's the fact that she tried to sit up there and act like she didn't say certain things. Like, Mia always does that. Number one, Mia loves to put words in other people's mouth and say what they said when they didn't say. But when it's her turn, she likes to act like either she doesn't remember or it wasn't me. And that's what I cannot. Like, Mia, we gonna have some real issues as the seasons progress with you on it, if you keep doing that. Okay, just be quiet then, girl. Just hush up. All right. So she gonna have to work on that SHI. Y'all leave y'all thoughts down below. I definitely hope that Ascala comes back. When Ascala comes back, I definitely can see her keeping her foot on Miss Mia's neck. I feel like when it came to Ascala, and y'all let me know, I do feel like Mia was jealous of Ascala, even though though Ascala ended up not being, you know, like a main cast member, I feel like she was jealous of Ascala because all of the other ladies, she pretty much knew their story, right? Because she was a fan of the show. She's watched the show. She knows what's going on in damn near everybody's life, know who their mamas is and all of this stuff, right? So she already can pinpoint where these ladies are to her. And to her, she probably felt like, oh, she's better than them. At least that's how she led on, which is also the reason why she labeled Candiace's video shoot low budget, because Mia thinks that she's a high budget, high class woman, child. I cannot. So I think she looks at a lot of those ladies like that. But when she got hit with Ascala fashions was on point. Ascala's hair was on point. Ascala got her man got coin. Ascala is living very, very well. So she didn't know how to take Ascala. So in my opinion, guys, I do feel like Mia was definitely jealous of Ascala. And I hope that she returns because she's gonna keep that foot on Miss Mia's neck. It's gonna be interesting. All right. But let's go ahead and get into a comment that Miss Mia made. So when this video clip was posted of the interview that Mia did with Bassett, Miss Mia decided to give her a comment. Okay, Miss Mia decided to leave her comment under this post of the interview that Ascala did, and she said, "Let's be honest. I was trying to help you out to keep you relevant. Fact is, you're ungrateful, so wasn't invited to take a seat on the couch until 4 days before the reunion because I wasn't coming." First of all, ma'am, that's not even the topic at hand for this particular clip, okay, that was shown, because this is where you put this comment. That wasn't even the topic of hand, talking about the reunion. And for you to say that you was trying to keep her relevant, you new to the show. So how you gonna try to keep her relevant when you need to make sure that you're even gonna be relevant, which is why you run around arguing with the different ladies so that you could try to solidify the little piece of the peach or whatever you had, the glass of wine that you did have, the piece of the flute that you did have. So yeah, no, I didn't understand that. And then it's funny that you use Candiace's tactic, talk about some ungrateful ass. Girl, hilarious. When Candiace told you you should have been grateful. The problem is that you weren't grateful, honey. You were ungrateful. Come on, Candiace. So now you over here trying to throw and dish that out. So Mia, when this comes back up to the forefront, we want to know, is this you typing or is this your assistant? Your social media manager, girl, which one is it? And then she says that, which is interesting, she says that Ascala wasn't invited to take a seat on the couch until 4 days later. So you mean to tell me Ascala was not invited to take a seat on the couch until 4 days later, but she came in and served all of y'all? Get this woman her flute. Get this woman her glass of wine or whatever, champagne, whatever y'all want her to drink. Get this lady her glass. Give her her flowers or whatever y'all got out there at Potomac, Katie. Give it to her because it took her 4 days to get invited and she was able to pull it together from the attire up to the hair. Okay then, girl. And then Mia says that she wasn't going to come. But she says that Ascala got invited 4 days before the reunion because I wasn't coming. So you weren't going to come, Miss Mia? Why weren't you going to come, Miss Mia? Was it that you weren't invited? What was your reason as to why you were not going to come? Highly interesting, okay? She says, if you want to keep it 100%. Well, Mia, that's not something you do very often. Mia, you don't often keep things very 100, which leaves us in a position to where we have to question the things that you say. So I'm wondering about the validity of the comment that you just made. But that's that on that. And I ain't got no more. Honey, y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below on everything that I discussed today on the Quick Chat, honey. I'm Jamie, that's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jamie, that's me. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.